Hello dear viewers and welcome to RTD's English News Edition. Here are our top stories. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Margele, participates in the opening ceremony of the Second Belt and Road Forum. In all the international news, Southern Africa prepares for Kenneth hurricane. Thank you for joining us in our newsroom. The Second International Forum of Silk Road Belt, held in China, Beijing, where about 30 heads of states and government took part in this forum, including the President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Margele, who leads an important delegation composed of Foreign Minister Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, Finance Minister Ilyas Moussa Douale, and more than 1,000 Chinese business leaders and international experts, but also more than 5,000 Chinese journalists and reporters in the world. The Silk Road project was launched in 2013 by the current Chinese President Mr. Xi Jinping, and it aims to create a land and a sea belt linking China with nearly 68 countries in Asia, Europe and Africa to facilitate the import of Chinese products around the world. This vast investment program also includes strategic countries in Africa, including Djibouti, which is located on the shores of one of the world's busiest shipping lanes. Djibouti is in the heart of the new Silk Road with its multipurpose ports. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Margele, has delivered a speech during the second forum on a road and a belt. He congratulated His Excellency Xi Jinping on the organization of this second edition of the Belt and One Road Forum. He thanked the President of China, its government, and the Chinese people for their warm and friendly welcome. This forum on the new Silk Road will be a key forum for meeting and exchanges economic and industrial knowledge that will enable us to perfect our development strategies, added President Gele. Through this initiative, China proposes the promotion and construction of a new type of international relations in a community of destiny for humanity. It promotes mutual respect, equal consultation, openness, inclusion, and mutual benefits. China also insists on a global governance approach characterized by the principle of consultation, synergy, and sharing, with the aim of promoting connectivity throughout the world. A new way of relations between states based on dialogue and partnership is opening up here, said the President. This approach supports the multilateral trading system and promotes a more open, inclusive, balanced, and mutual beneficial economic globalization. To this end, said the President of the Republic, our partnership with the Asian giant is also solid and committed because it is built around a common vision that strengthens regional and global integration. The Belt and Road aims to improve the connectivity of policies, infrastructure, trade, finance, and people. Good progress has been made in all these areas over the past 6 years, especially in Africa. This initiative coordinates several global visions and strategies by effectively linking up with the United Nations Programme for Sustainable Development to 2030. It thus establishes a synergy of policies aimed at promoting global development, according to the President of the Republic. At the regional level, the Belt and Road Initiative joins regional development plans and cooperation initiatives such as the ASEAN Connectivity Master Plan, the African Union Agenda 2063, the ASEAN Economic Union and European Union strategies to link Europe to Asia to improve connectivity and support regional economic integration in the world. Today, we can proudly say that the Republic of Djibouti occupies a prominent place in this project, located on the shores of one of the busiest maritime routes in the world at the crossroads of trade between East Africa, the Arabian Peninsula, Asia, and Europe. Djibouti is at the heart of the new maritime Silk Road, has continued the President. He then announced that Djibouti already has good quality port and rail infrastructure. That is why the country intends to take advantage of Beijing's plans to become a logistics platform for both the Chinese and the African states, to which we must be linked. We open the doors of the landlocked markets in our region, continued the President. At the same time, it provides an outlet for East African goods and raw materials to the rest of the world. Djibouti's long-term objective is to process 100 million tons of goods per year. The large-scale poor infrastructure and the construction of free zones testify to our desire for economic and strategic partnership. Through these free zones, Djibouti hopes to benefit from a new movement to relocate Asian jobs to Africa via East Africa. But to succeed in this challenge, however, our country will have to succeed in training a skilled workforce, has indicated the President of the Republic. We are also looking forward to benefiting from the experience and technology transfer of some developing countries in the context of South-South cooperation. In the long term, Djibouti will have the necessary financial means for an industrial takeoff. Djibouti wishes to obtain opportunities resulting from the synergy between the strategies and development plans of all partners in the framework of the Belt and Road. The development of pragmatic cooperation in various fields, as well as the progress of bilateral, trilateral, and multilateral cooperation. The process generated by the One Belt, One Road initiative will bring new demands for infrastructure, said the President, connectivity and industrial investment to life, and free up resources for the future, has concluded the President of the Republic. The head of state has participated in the commemorative evening of the 40th anniversary of Sino-Djibouti relations. The President of the Republic, who arrived early in the evening, was welcomed in Beijing's Kampiski by Djibouti's ambassador to China, Abdullah Miguel, Chinese officials in the Vice President of the Senate, representatives of the diplomatic corps accredited to Beijing, as well as hundreds of Djiboutian students. Afterwards, a colorful, cultural and artistic evening hosted by the stars of Somali song and Afar Waladen and Abba Yazid, and among others, was dedicated to the event. Chinese Vice President review with Sino-Djiboutian cooperation also indicated with this second forum that cooperation between Djibouti and China will take a new step forward. A speech during which he did not fail to welcome the Chinese initiative of the project A Road in a Belt. In his speech, the Djiboutian head of state, Mr. Ismail Mergele, during the commemoration of the 40th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between two countries and in anticipation the commemoration of the 42nd anniversary of national independence, highlighted the sovereignty of the two nations. For this third hard-won sovereignty that serves as a beacon for our two people on their ways to the future, and it is this sovereignty just preserves that allows our two nations to broaden and intensify our cooperation, said the president. My country, Djibouti, a very small country, has everything to learn from your country. China, a giant not only by its size and demography, but also and above all by its history and its prestige and its influence, has expressed President Gele. Yes, my country, underdeveloped or in the process of development, as we say now, has everything to learn and understand about your country, a civilization that is several thousand years old, a civilization whose commercial, scientific, and spiritual achievements are part of the heritage of humanity, continued the president. The Republic of Djibouti and the People's Republic of China, since the establishment of their diplomatic relations in 1979, have continued to intensify and diversify their cooperation. This cooperation, which began with a diplomatic component, has now reached a strategic partnership dimension. This win-win cooperation is developed in a good understanding of our mutual interests. That is why the Chinese vision of the Silk Road serves both in Chinese and Djiboutian interests. This vision, which makes Djibouti an indispensable link in the global trade chain, marks the return of China as a major player in economic globalization. But this vision also easily coincides and adjusts to my country's ambition to become a commercial hub for the entire region and even beyond. My country's geostrategic position today gives it the opportunity to capture a significant part of the maritime trade of our region, but also to become a link for the open countries of the region, said the President of the Republic. We are trying to capitalize on this opportunity by creating an attractive business environment, has declared the President of the Republic. He expressed delight to see that Chinese businessmen have very quickly understood the value of investing in our economy. Many sectors such as tourism, energy, and infrastructure are still in need of massive investments to make my country a commercial hub for the entire region. That is why I encourage you to take advantage of these business opportunities, said the President. Continuing his speech, the President said when he sees the extent the two countries have come, he can only express its satisfaction. We still need to make progress together, for as the great Confucius so well says in his internal wisdom, he who does not progress every day retreats every day, concluded President Gele. The head of state presided yesterday over the signing ceremony of the agreement to renovate the former port of Djibouti. Several investors from different companies such as China Marching Port, China Merchant Sheku Holding, but also from the company Great Investment Holding. The discussions between the heads of states and Chinese investors were focused on the opportunities Djibouti offers for investors in different fields. especially in logistics and ports. Several high-ranking personalities took part in this signing ceremony, including the Minister for Foreign Affairs and the Minister of Economy, but also the President of the Ports Authorities. The President of the Ports and Free Zone Authorities has begun signing the investment agreement to renovate the former port of Djibouti. Coming back to the news in the capital and the regions, the Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, Mr. Mustafa Mohammed Mahmoud, and his colleague delegate for trade, Mr. Hassan Hamad Ibrahim, sponsored the ceremony to award leather goods equipment to the league. Equipment consisting of machinery and other tools and equipment for sewing and processing leather to make bags, hats, and other leather objects was donated by the Comesa Leather Institute. These equipments and materials are intended for the workshops of the Adult Training Center, which has been offering training in leather production to out-of-school youth for the last 2 school years, thus obtaining vocational training certificates. These training courses are also offered to the associations of leather craftswomen. The Minister Delegate for Trade, Mr. Hassan Hamad Ibrahim, stressed that this equipment is intended for capacity building for leather crafts. The Minister stressed the efforts made by the government to enable the craft sector to play its full socio-economic role through technical support, but also by promoting the potential of small and medium-sized crafts businesses. And for his part, the Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, Mustafa Mohammed Mahmoud, recalled that this donation of equipment follows 2 training workshops organized by the Ministry of Commerce in collaboration with the Comesa Department, and in particular the Leather Institute, which kindly supported this capacity building project. The Minister of Agriculture, Mr. Mohammed Ahmed Awale, led a large delegation from his department on an official visit to Turkey from April 23 to 26. The visit followed an invitation from Mr. Bekir, Turkish Minister of Agriculture and Forestry. Mr. Mohammed Ahmed Awale's stay in Turkey was marked by the signing of a memorandum of understanding in the field of meteorology applied to the revitalization of agriculture areas and forests. It is important to note that the construction of this hydraulic structure is part of Djibouti-Turkey cooperation in the field of water. This project, financed by a major grant of 17.5 million euros from Turkey, is the first of its kind that the Turkish government and the management of the DSI, Turkish Directorate General of State Hydraulic Works, have undertaken abroad. Under the ashes of the Minister Delegate for Decentralization, Mr. Hamadou Mohamed Aramis, the Obok Regional Council, in partnership with the Prefecture of the region and the coordination of the United Nations system, organized yesterday at its headquarters a first consultation and coordination meeting between local decision makers and development partners on programs and projects implemented in the Obok region on development and humanitarian issues. This important meeting, the first of its kind, was attended by more than 50 people, including 2 members of the government, Deputy Minister in charge of decentralization, Hamadou Mohamed Aramis, alongside the President of the Regional Council and the Prefect of Obok, Mohamed Hamid Ismail, and Hassan Dabeli, respectively sponsor of the event, and his colleague for Youth and Sports, Hassan Mohammed Kamil, Minister of Region, UNFD Vice President Hasna Hamad Bilil, all parliamentarians in the region, representatives of all United Nations system organizations, and sectoral and technical ministers. The holding of this meeting, which has been planned since 2015, was made possible thanks to the involvement of the Deputy Minister in charge of decentralization, who is interested in the establishment of this platform because it could play the role of a counterpart to the central level dialogue framework at the regional level. The Secretary of State for Youth and Sports, Hassan Kamil Mohammed, who contributed to the holding of this meeting, was delighted in his capacity as Minister of the region that it will be organized in Oborg in order to establish a beneficial partnership between the organizations present to promote the development of Oborg. And finally, to close this series of speeches, the Deputy Minister in charge of decentralization, Hamadou Mohamed Aramis, immediately stated that his department is sensitive to the organization of meetings in the regions. As part of the solid waste management project funded by the French Development Agency AFD, Djibouti Social Development Agency organized on Thursday, April 25, at the Center for Social Action and Women's Empowerment in Balbala, an information and an awareness-raising workshop on management activities and environmental protection set up as part of the project in the presence of the Acting Director General of ADDS, the ADDS project manager, representative of the various associations and local elected officials. The objective of the project is to improve the living conditions of the local population and reduce relative and extreme poverty, but also to manage solid waste in a rational way. International news: schools, airports closed. Southern Africa prepares to face Hurricane Kenneth. Hurricane Kenneth began its journey over a part of Southern Africa, starting from the Indian Ocean north of Madagascar. 3 days ago, the tropical storm could sweep through Mozambique, Tanzania, and the Comoros. In the Comoros, the first tremors were felt during the night from Wednesday to Thursday. Wind gusts of up to 140 kilometers per hour were recorded over the archipelago, causing landslides and floods, causing at least 3 injuries according to local site reports. Before the cyclone hit, schools were closed and airplanes links suspended as a precautionary measure. Described as a powerful tropical cyclone, Kenneth is now heading for Mozambique. Red alert, the highest level for natural disasters, has already been issued by the authorities to warn people of the impending arrival of the cyclone. And that's all for this edition. Thank you for your attention.